Hi, this is Jason from Horrific Nightmares, and welcome to another edition of Wild Eye Wednesday. Now, today I'm going to be taking a look at High Death, unrated. But before I get into my review, I wanted to take the time to thank Wild Eye for sending me this copy to review for you guys. They have an awesome company. I'm going to put their links in the description box below for their YouTube channel and their official website. They are definitely where it's at with independent horror. Now, High Death is a 2018 film which runs approximately 101 minutes and is an anthology. It's also the sequel to High 8, or Horror Independent 8, which I absolutely loved. Now, I'm going to be doing this similar to how I do most anthologies. I'm going to take it segment by segment, give you a short synopsis, give you a little bit of info, and do a rating on it. And when I'm done, I'm going to do a rating on the entire film. Our first segment is our wraparound called Terror Tour. It is directed by Brad Sykes, and it stars Kate DeRocher and Kristen Adams. I gave this one a 7. It's about two girls who come to LA for the first time. They find a flyer for Terror Tour, and it has like one of those little signs that you can activate with your cell phone. So what you do is you watch a short movie, which is basically how this anthology is, and it takes you to a different place. Well, one of the friends disappear, and that's about as far as I can go with that one without spoiling it. But it's a pretty good wraparound, so I think 7 definitely fits that one. Our first segment is my favorite of the whole anthology, and it's called Death Has a Conscience. And that is directed by Anthony Cantanci. It stars Jensen Jacobs and Nick Guzman. This is basically about a girl who goes to a death metal, heavy metal club, and you're left to assume that she's trying to score some drugs. She eventually does. Goes back to her hotel room and does the drugs and is dealing with death. And I can't really go too much further with that one. But it's really, really cool. Very creepy, very atmospheric. Awesome. I gave this one a 9.5. This was definitely my favorite on the anthology. The next one is called Dealers of Death, and it's directed by Tim Ritter. Now, you guys should know Tim Ritter on the SOV sort of horror kind of kick with Truth or Dare and Killing Spree, which are two favorites of mine. Unfortunately, this was my least favorite part of the anthology. Just kind of was a little dull to me. Now, this one stars Todd Martin and Kathleen Ritter. And it kind of boils down to this. You see on the news that there's a frenzy about a switchblade killer. You meet the switchblade killer. He robs a drug dealer's house. You end up finding out the motive is that he wants to take the drug dealer's money and buy serial killer memorabilia. And I'm going to have to leave it there. It's an interesting premise. I just don't think it was handled very well. Our next segment is called Night Drop. I ended up giving Dealers of Death a 6.5, which still isn't that bad, but it was definitely my least favorite. Our next segment is called Night Drop, and it's directed by Amanda Payton, and it stars Thomas Kindler, Christopher Prayer, and Todd Sheets as the man on the phone. This one I enjoyed. It was very short, but it brought back a lot of nostalgia for me. A guy is working in a video rental store, which there aren't many anymore, and he's cleaning up, and he gets a DVD in the drop box. It's in a red case. He ends up cutting his hand on it, throwing it in the trash. He calls his boss, who is Todd Sheets, the guy on the phone, and he says that, somebody dropped off a DVD and I'm not really sure what it is. And the guy on the phone says, well, put it in. So he watches it, and it's got a lot of really creepy imagery in it. And that's pretty much all I can do with that one without giving away the rest of it. It is very short, but it's very effective. Our next segment is called Cold Read, and it's directed by Brad Sykes once again. And it stars, and I'm going to try to pronounce this one. This is a tough name, but it's a pretty cool name. Fabiana Formica and Jay Sosnicki. This was a lot of fun. I gave Night Drop a 7. I keep forgetting to tell you guys that. Cold Read, I ended up giving an 8. I enjoyed it. It's about an actress who's going in to read for an audition, which has really terrifying results. And I'm going to leave that one there. But I did give it an 8. It's a really good segment. And the final segment, called The Muse, I gave a 9. This is by far the most interesting and has the most promise, even though it wasn't my favorite. This is directed by Todd Sheets, who is a fantastic director. And it stars Nick Randoli and Mike Gordon. And it basically, if you want to break it down, it's kind of a Hellraiser ripoff, but it's done so well. And the funny part about this segment, it was done for $90. And it's a little hard to explain. You find a guy in a hotel room in his underwear painting using blood. And his muse is actually one of the, from what I could understand, one of the generals of death. What he does is he calls up prostitutes, has them come over, and paints with their blood and bodily fluids. Because he's supposed to eventually release the evil one into the world and cause anarchy and catastrophe and apocalypse. And that's where I'm going to leave it. Basically, I gave you the entire thing, but it's very rich in imagery. It's very interesting, and it, like I said, it does have a very, very strong Hellraiser vibe to it. And I gave that one a 9. Overall, I give this anthology an 8. It is definitely worth checking out for an independent anthology. It's a lot of fun. It's very low budget, but if you can get past that, there's some really, really good segments on here. And don't forget to check out Wild Eye. I left their links in the description box below. And if you like what you see in here, hit that like button and subscribe. And until next time, peace.